I wanted to discuss Mara. Mara has torn a lot lately. They've acquired 2 companies. Their hash rate when it comes to mining, pretty sure they're number 1 right now. And that's why their Riot was beating Mara for sure. It was way, way better the last Bitcoin halving cycle, which was over here. This time around, Mara is doing very, very well. BT's coming up too. They're going to be increasing their hash rate nearly double next year in 2024. So, guys, we had a candle straight from, this is a monthly chart, from $11 to $31. Now, it hasn't ever really done that. It hasn't, it did over here. Hasn't done anything like that without pulling back hard. This candle was pretty aggressive and it pulled back. Of course it's going to pull back. That's okay though, because I knew that the halving was going to happen. We also had multiple technical analysis told us when to get in over here. This was a much healthier run up. Nice and slow from $7 all the way to 19. But we had a 1, 2, 3 reversal with a reversal candle on the monthly over here. On top of halving coming. This pop-up right here was short covering in my opinion. I don't know that. But if I'm shorting it, I'm thinking, hey, Bitcoin spot ETF approval is coming up. What if it's approved? Also, the halving's coming up in about 7 months. I think I'm going to go ahead and take some profits. And I believe that was short covering right there. This I don't believe was short covering. Some of it, yeah. A lot of it, I think, is due to the anticipation of the spot ETF, as well as all the good things that have happened with Mara, and it's been hitting the news headlines recently. Of course there's going to be a pullback. But did you buy the top? When it starts ripping and you're looking at it, you're like, I think I'm going to wait for it to pull back $2 or so. I should have bought it. I should have bought it. I should have bought it. Why don't I just buy it? It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. And then you get in and it sucks back. Right? Everyone's been messaging me about Mara. Is it too late to get in? Yes, it's too late. It's too late. If I hadn't been in, what I should say to you is, why don't you wait for the next Bitcoin halving, which is going to be in 2028. Then you'll have your shot again at Mara. So, what I would like to do is to see what's going to happen tomorrow after the Bitcoin spot ETF approval. If there is an approval, I believe Mara will pull back and Bitcoin. If there isn't an approval, I believe Mara and Bitcoin will pull back. So that's going to be a great opportunity. Am I going to buy puts? Absolutely not. I would never buy puts right now because the IV is disgusting. It is disgusting on both sides. Not really good conditions for me because I can't hold it for very long. It would have to go immediately after I jumped in. What I'd rather do is let it fall back down, right? 14 to 16 bucks would be a healthy range, and start selling puts. And if I get assigned, if it drops further, great, because there's going to be a Bitcoin halving coming up in April. So when this Bitcoin halving happens, all the miners are responsible for around $1 billion a month of Bitcoin being sold. So don't quote me on that number. I heard that through an interview on YouTube. Don't quote me on that. But you can assume there's a lot of selling. They have to cover electricity costs. There's mining costs as well. So when miners are rewarded half as much after the Bitcoin keyword halving, you're going to have half as much per block, right? That solved. The reward's going to be cut in half. There's half as much selling. On top of, if there's a Bitcoin spot ETF, all the institutions, governments, and retail traders jumping in. So selling drops and buying rises. So that can cause Bitcoin to go nuts. If the spot ETF isn't approved, does that mean it's the end? Of course, that's going to hit the news headlines. Everyone's going to be like, told you so. It can't run up like that without pulling back, right? Well, there wasn't a spot ETF approval over here. And Mara did just fine. It actually went from what, like 40 cents to $80. So I'm not worried about it. Spot ETF approval or not, I don't care. It drops, it's another buying opportunity because Bitcoin moves in a cycle, a 4-year cycle. And you won't catch me buying the top of anything. I'm going to be selling the top, and I'm going to be providing liquidity to the people that are buying the top. Unfortunately, I feel sorry for them. So if people would just inverse it, I had friends buying the top on the last Bitcoin halving, and this is matching Bitcoin right here, Mara is, which is why I'm pointing it, talking about the Bitcoin halving, because this is matching Bitcoin. They're buying the top. I do this stuff for a living, and they wouldn't listen to me. And my one friend's down $30,000 on Filecoin that he bought at 200. Pull up a chart on Filecoin. Horrible. Didn't listen to me, right? And it's all ego, So if you would have just inversed that, then selling the top and then buying the bottom now on Filecoin, which I just bought about 3 weeks ago for around $4ish, and I'm already up on it. So it pulls back. That's a buying opportunity. When this thing really sucks back hard, again, I'm looking to sell puts on it because it should really rack the IV up. I am not touching options on this on the buy side. Absolutely not. It's over. Equity only. You can make a lot of money with equity. Why would I even need options? Especially when it's going from 9 to 30, 31. You're over 3xing your money with no theta decay. And if you're wrong and it sucks back, there's no expiration, right? I'm still green on my dollar cost average. I averaged up, unfortunately, but it was around 960. I got in late. It's 995 right now. So I don't care. BT, I'm in the twos at 293. BT, Bit Digital is they're making moves. I've been following the news headlines over the last 2 years, especially over the last 6 months. They've made some great moves, but you can see the last Bitcoin halving over here. The halving isn't for a very long time. We've got 4 months until the halving. But I can't wait. I cannot wait. This is going to be a big event for me. It's not going to affect Bitcoin immediately. You give it about 2 to 3 months when all those miners are done taking their profits, even if they're going to sell, then things should really start ticking up. But you could see BT was a buck. It shot up 3 months later to 5, had a 2-month pullback in October and just went parabolic, all the way to $33 from $1. So 33 extra money. What is the point of options at that point? When I believe that miners are topped out, I am probably going to buy a very far out, very, very far out strike price, very far out of the money, very far out expiration, as far as I can buy. This will be in late 2024 when they write 2027 options. And I'm going to be buying hopefully for 2027, going into 2025, hopefully for 2027. And the second whenever that is, they come out with 2027 options, I'm buying probably, I'm hoping Mara to shoot up past 80. I would love to get into some 20s, maybe buy a nice debit spread there, buy a 20 and sell a $15 put way out of the money for buying me around 2 years debit spread and fade it after I've liquidated everything. But the plan is here, guys, is not let my emotions get in the way. Let this thing run up like it did before. It took a very long time. I mean, the halving was April, May right here. And you can see it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months for Mara to really start going. We're 4 months away from the halving. It's basically, you can expect to be in this thing, if anybody's in this for a year. That's what I'm expecting. And it really didn't top out. I'd want to be out here. I would not want to hold through all this. I could make more. It's easy to say that, well, I should have held till right there on the chart. You can't see that at the time. You can't see that. Right? So I'm going to be trimming on the way up. I'll leave some. You can't expect it to just have another pop like that, because when Bitcoin ran, let's see if I can even pull it up. If it'll let me see, unfortunately on TrendSpider, it won't let me see it. We'll go to the atrocious hit BTC. No, it's not going to let me see it on here. Maybe we can pull up Riot and go off that. We can. There we go. There was this pop over here for I remember trading Riot for this Bitcoin halving, which alerted me for this one in 2021. Let's go ahead and elongate these charts so they look a bit better. There we go. But Riot from $3.99 to $46. That was great. But anyways, this thing just had one pop, so you can't just look off the chart and expect it to do the exact same thing the next time, like Bitcoin did. Bitcoin had 2 big pops on it. So I'm going to be trimming on the way up, nice and slow. But again, guys, you cannot have a gigantic candle like that and then it close and then we just keep, the technicals aren't going to work. That's just not good. That's like not a thing. It's going to pull back. We filled one gap there. We have another gap right there to fill. So around 20 bucks. That's really high. It's $20. Like, I don't know, the people that are freaking out got in late. It's because you guys got in very, very late here. So go ahead and fill that gap. I don't know what gap oh, yeah. There's another gap fill right there to 13. I don't think that's going to happen. If it does, great. I'll sell some $10 puts for March, right, or June on Mara. I'd love to own more of it. Great, fantastic. I'd love for that to happen. So, but here's all my charting down here. Look at this beautiful chart with this run up here. That really gets me going. That is gorgeous right here with all those little hammers right there at $9. And that's where I entered. I got in over there. Got in a little bit, got my full, put my full investment in right around 963-ish, somewhere around there. But yeah, so this thing has a lot of ways to go before I'd ever be red on it. And I highly doubt it's going to go below that because Bitcoin is higher. So what was alerting me that something was off here was that Bitcoin was dropping and Mara had disconnected and started running. That didn't look right. That could have been short covering. I don't know what that was at the top. So, but you can see RSI could not go any higher there. She was ready to pull back. So it's wonderful to see RSI come down. I'd love to see it come down a little bit more and hang out over here. But things can keep going even though they're overbought. Let's go ahead and go to a weekly chart here. They can keep going, and that's where the divergence is created. Kind of like here, you know, we topped out right here on the RSI. As it was dropping, we went higher, and then we popped up one more time, and RSI was lower. Clear as day. It's so simple. This technical analysis over here is just an easy, dead giveaway that if you were in, here's your shot, especially when it started to yank back and you see RSI peeling over and it didn't reach come on. So, but this is nothing to me. So I don't care how low she goes. I wasn't buying to exit here. I'm buying to exit this time next year. Hopefully, as long as nothing catastrophic happens, since China says they are going into Taiwan, so that's going to be a whole thing that can spook the markets and everything else. So anyways, guys, if you all like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.